Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into the Week 8 edition Sunday Sideline Report here on the Sports Insanity Network YouTube channel. Mike, Mark, Dan with you. Gentlemen, good morning. How are we?
Slicing and dicing this morning.
I started my vacation today, so I'm just chilling.
Ooh, there we go. Vacation.
Where are you gonna go?
New York.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right. I forgot you're coming up here. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's coming home.
yeah. I'll make a pit stop at my sister's for a little while before actually heading to the Big Apple. But yeah,
Very nice.
Oh,
um, hopefully another exciting week of football, and hopefully another week where we can solidify the Jets as one of the worst, not the one of the worst franchise in professional sports right now in the US, and it's not even close. So, look, I would much rather, be the butt of all jokes and take the bullies and all that stuff. This way it could be much sweeter later on. But we have to go through the struggle now so that we can be successful later.
well, we will talk about the Jets at some point today because, well, they made headlines most of this week because, well, one, their head coach, and two, the owner said something,
Mhm.
which we will get into at some point.
Yeah.
But we start this edition as we do most weeks. Thursday night football has come and gone, which saw the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego beat the Minnesota Vikings by a score of 37-10. Justin Herbert, 18 to 25, 227 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Vidal, the running back who's in because of injuries to O'Marion Hampton and Najee Harris, he went for 117 yards and a touchdown. Lad McConkey, 6 catches, 88 yards and a touchdown. For the Vikings, Carson Wentz, 15 of 27, 144 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. The Chargers,
Now that's the ones we know.
yeah, the Chargers go to 5-3, while the Vikings go to 3-4. Dan, your thoughts on this game?
Um, the Vikings are what they are. They're a banged up team. They don't have a real quarterback. No disrespect to Wentz. I do think Carson Wentz is a suitable backup and has been for a very long time. He obviously was a big time starter back in his heyday. Didn't quite work out and is what it is, 10 years in the league, whatever. But uh, you know, the fact that it was that big of a blowout victory for LA goes to show you that I think the Vikings have a lot more issues on their hands. And at the end of the day, they do not have any consistency with any parts of their football team, which is a shame because there's a lot of talent on that team. But if you don't have your actual players, your best players going out there on a weekly basis, that's gonna be a problem. And the one that I'm pointing to mostly is McCarthy because this is the second straight year where McCarthy has either missed significant amount of time or as of last year, he missed the whole season. And it caught and look, they got by with Darnold, and Darnold was amazing, and he led them to the playoffs. But this is a different season. You don't have Darnold to back up on, and it shows. I don't know if it's more of an indictment on the coaching staff or the front office staff, but clearly it showed last night how the injury prone JJ McCarthy is going to really hurt this team.
So you take off of what on Dan said, and here's my issue. My issue is the fact that it's Carson Wentz throwing the football. Okay. You have two of the best receivers in football on this team. A third string should be able to hit these guys for 100 yards a game each time. There is no reason why the Minnesota Vikings should be 3-4 with the offense they have. Be it injury, yes, JJ McCarthy out again. Then make sure you have a qualified backup. You did in Sam Darnold, but you let him go. This is always what happens to Minnesota. Injury and not prepared for the afterlife, so to speak. Flip sided to the Chargers. This is, again, a great start for Justin Herbert and this Charger team. The receivers have been consistent. I just need one named running back who's going to make it all the way through without being injured. I know we've lost O'Marion Hampert and Najee Harris, as Dan pointed out, and now Vidal stepped in and took it for 117 yards and a touchdown. But they need more and more consistency.
And the Chargers got Joe Alt back, which helped their offensive line, which had really struggled past number of weeks. But Dan, I think you hit the nail on the head with this, because I now have real concerns about JJ McCarthy, because we were told this was a week to week thing, this high ankle sprain, and now he's been out since what, week 2, week 3?
Yeah,
And that is including the Minnesota Viking bye week.
like you might as well put him on IR.
Right.
That was the situation.
I know they said during the broadcast, I think they think he'll be back next week, but
Yeah.
I mean, this just has me concerned, because now we're talking about a guy who missed his rookie year, and he's missed the bulk of this season. And the Vikings, albeit 3-4, could still find themselves in a position to be a playoff team. Let's not say they're eliminated, because they're not. They're 3-4. They're right there. That has me a little concerned. And this game actually changed for me on the first play the Chargers ran, because Herbert threw a pick six to Isaiah Rodgers. After review, they're saying Rodgers didn't complete the process of a catch and ruled it incomplete, and then the Chargers go down and score. That 7-point swing,
Yeah,
was a deadly play here in this game.
Yeah.
So the Vikings, for the most part, could say, man, we worked our ass off, but it's a tough loss for Minnesota. Next week, they will play the Detroit Lions, while the Chargers next week, pull up the schedule. I can't believe we're week 8 already. The Chargers next week will go to Tennessee and play the Titans. Congrats on the Chargers for winning again next week before that game's even played.
Yeah.
Look at it.
As for the Chargers, real quick, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
It was a game that they truly needed to have a blowout to get some confidence back in.
Mm-hmm.
Because for a while we were worried about their defense not making big plays. We were worried about the offense not necessarily making the great play calls for Herbert and everybody. So it's a good win. It's a good feel good win on a short week. get the job done. Um, so good job by the Chargers. Though, kind of worried about Mekhi Becton again with these knee injuries.
Injuries. Yeah.
And look, I saw it with the Jets. It was injury after injury with that guy. Probably because he's a little overweight. He actually looks like he's in great shape. He
Hmm.
keeps getting hurt. So just another guy to watch on your offense. Someone that's a big time caliber player. Got paid a lot of money. So, but good stuff from Herbert. Love the receiving core. Love the running game. They got to be consistent. They got to do this on a weekly basis. They can't like disappear against weak ass teams like Tennessee. You know,
Yeah, you lose that game next week to Tennessee. We're gonna have a real conversation about the Chargers. All right. The major story in sports this whole week has been this FBI raid on gambling within the NBA. If you haven't read it, look into it. Chauncey Billups, the coach of the Trailblazers, is now on a leave of absence, as is Terry Rozier, a guard for, I believe he's now with Miami.
he's in Miami. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So, knowing this and knowing how there's been a crackdown of gambling when it comes to sports, Mark, how should the NFL look into what has gone down here with the NBA? And how concerned should we be when it comes to this kind of thing?
Well, I think it already should have been a heightened concern after the Shohei Ippy issue that took place obviously before this. Go back to even before, we've seen the NFL already aggressive on it with Calvin Ridley and a couple other players. However, none of them have been as big as this, not even the Shohei issue. This is a major problem because it's now on every channel. How are you supposed to stop this person from gambling at this time? And yes, they're supposed to be on the honor roll and not do it. Obviously, the thing with Terry Rozier it is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm also kind of sorry I didn't bet all those unders on that night. Um, Not that I knew about it either. Um, but if you want to stop this, there's only one way to stop it. It's to bar all major league players for being allowed to bet on games, meaning they cannot even have accounts. And whatnot. And if they're caught somehow with a fake account and whatnot, that's it. You're out. That's how it has to be. But
So,
it'll never go to that because the gambling world is a $1 trillion business now.
so I want to follow up with two things. What you're suggesting is kind of like the Pete Rose one and done. But the other question I would have is this: how? I can't ask you this as an athlete because we're not professional athletes, but how can they not be swayed in whenever you watch a ball game or ESPN, every commercial is one of these betting apps. And
Absolutely.
these leagues, as we know, let's be real honest here, these leagues get some sort of kickback from this.
Mm-hmm. One way or another, gambling has been involved in sports since sports became prevalent. Pete Rose kind of shook it up, and what happened to him kind of quieted it down. until the emergence of FanDuel and DraftKings, and then Fanatics, Caesars, and now it's all over the place.
Hold on.
E-
Now sponsors, you're welcome, Patch.
Either shut it down to professional leagues, meaning no major athlete can bet on it, period. Or you or then they gambling illegal, sports gambling illegal in the United States. And you're not going to do that either.
Dan,
Here's the thing, because right now we live in a world where all these sports leagues are in bed with the major gambling sites, sports books, all that stuff. Um, we're even at a point where the NFL is trying to uh have this content deal with ESPN, where ESPN takes over certain NFL channels while the NFL gets 10% stake in ESPN. Well, you do know that ESPN partners with a company that licenses their name for the sports book. It's about $150 million a year for that ESPN bet.
mm-hmm.
The gaming company owns it, and then the ESPN, the licensing deal uh, is their names in front of it. They get $150 million a year. I think they're getting like near 2 billion on that. So this NFL deal goes through, the NFL may get some of that money. You see how strange that is?
Yeah.
So you have all these issues, and obviously the thing with Rozier, the thing with Chauncey Billups, and all that stuff in the NBA is such a bad reflection on athletes and sports and gambling. But you're gonna ask what these leagues are gonna do anything about it. Well, the fact that you have DraftKings as a official sponsor of this league, FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of that league, like that's all you need to know what they're gonna do about it, which is little to nothing. They may suspend players for trying to fix games. They may give hefty fines. Some people, if it's like a massive gambling ring, like again, Rozier is a part of, may go to prison, for fraud and shit. But you're gonna ask what the sports league gonna do about it? Well, they're gonna do nothing because they're getting all this money from these sites that if they were to do anything about it, you know, they could potentially lose sponsorships.
Yeah.
And look, is it worth it? I don't know. Like, it's money that they don't want to lose. You know, all these owners, man. I'm sorry, Mike. All these
No, go
owners,
for it.
man. They make money off the TV deals and the sponsors.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say, think of where a lot of the revenue comes from. Sports gambling. I mean, hell, we are now looking at in a couple of years a third professional sports team in Las Vegas. We got the Raiders already there. We got the Vegas Golden Knights in hockey. We're gonna have the Athletics in Vegas in a couple of years. Hell,
And that leaves one sport left.
LeBron James is talking about when he retires, bringing a team to Vegas, a basketball team to Vegas. So everything now is so centralized when it comes to sports gambling once it became legal. And I'm not saying to illegalize it. I'm not going to say that or delegalize it. I'm just saying these leagues have to be very careful. Because now, Mark, you brought up Calvin Ridley. Like, we're getting into that territory now with the NBA. And there was a guy, forgive me everyone for forgetting the dude's name, but the guy on the Raptors who intentionally cost himself playing minutes because he would take unders on FanDuel or whatever it was. And now he's out of a job. He's out of the league. Because he bet against himself.
And see, there has to be a fine line where, yeah, an NBA player can't bet on himself, but why can't he bet on Jerry Jeudy not to have 6 receptions for 50 yards? Where does the edge bar? There is none, because this is so uncharted territory that, this is almost impossible to truly enforce now because it is too big of a conglomerate.
And wasn't it Jamison Williams of the Lions who got in trouble? Not for gambling on football, because he gambled on college sports, but he did it in the facility or something. That got him in
Right. He
trouble?
was in the Lions facility and he placed a bet on whatever college game it was. He served his time without fight, mind you.
Yeah.
He said, I did wrong, these are the rules, whatever. But there was your example to all these professionals. Calvin Ridley was the other. And for some reason, I can't even remember this guy's name on Toronto. But
Porter. I just saw it was Porter. Something Porter.
oh, okay. Um, it's too big of a loss, like you said, Mike. If you take sports gambling away, the amount of money that the owners lose is so substantial, it could probably pay off the U.S. national debt and then some.
I think these leagues are in a really, I don't think they're in a tough spot. I think they're in an interesting position when it comes to this stuff, just based on the fact of, to Dan's point, they're in bed. These leagues and these companies are in bed with each other.
Some of these arenas and stadiums have sports books
Yeah.
Yep.
inside the facility, the venue.
Yeah.
Wrap your head around that.
What's to stop a guy from, before I go in the locker room? Oh, hey, keep me anonymous, but I'm putting, $100 on me to score 20 points tonight, or I'm going over 100 yards. Or if you take the under on yourself, you're going to go to the quarterback and say, "Hey, don't throw me the ball today."
If you want to watch a good movie, two good movies on sports gambling. One is Two for the Money with Al Pacino and Matthew McConaughey. And then one is probably older than these two. Might be close, but The Last Boy Scout with Damon Wayans and Bruce Willis. You want to watch two good movies on sports gambling. They'll show you the insides.
If you want to watch a movie that has nothing to do with gambling, but has the words "money ball" in it, go watch Moneyball. All right, we'll see what happens when it comes to this NBA investigation, and we'll see how other leagues handle it as well. All right. On to Dan's favorite subject, the New York Jets, the only remaining winless team in the NFL. And then it was an interesting week in Jetland because last week Aaron Glenn pulled Justin Fields for Tyrod Taylor. Then he didn't announce his starting quarterback. At the NFL owners' meetings, Woody Johnson threw Justin Fields under the bus, but believes in Aaron Glenn. And then yesterday, it was announced Tyrod Taylor will miss today's game with a knee injury, and in comes Justin Fields to start.
If we could complete a
And
pass,
the Titanic is still around, people.
if we could complete a pass, it will all look good. Woody Johnson.
I'm going to give you the floor here. If you want to go off on what's taking place, go for it.
I don't want to spend too much time because I think here's my thing. I think Woody Johnson just needs to just go to England. I know he loves it over in England. He needs to go back there and hide and allow the football. He'll still make the billions because again he's an NFL owner or whatever. So go hide in your man cave, mansion, nice house, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Hide there in England. Go to your soccer team and just leave us alone. Because your presence is unbearable. It's incredibly annoying. You're adding more stress to a very stressful season. You're adding more to Aaron Glenn's play. This is one of the very few times I've been defending Glenn. That he has to deal with this added nonsense of a quarterback controversy that his boss created. So it was just absolutely ridiculous what Woody Johnson did. And he didn't have to talk to the media. He could have walked past them and be like, hey guys, how's it going? But he decided not to do that. His ego is so wild. It's insane. This man cannot stay out of the spotlight. I don't get it. It's ruining the franchise. He's the problem. I don't think Aaron Glenn is the problem. Woody Johnson's the problem. Woody Johnson put this team together. Woody Johnson was the reason why we've been in these situations. Even when he was gone, and it was his brother Chris running the team. Who put Chris in charge? Woody. So it is a product of an incompetent owner. Bottom line. And obviously, of course, this happens to the Jets. You have the owner ripping the quarterback to shreds on national TV in front of the national media, some local media too, but in the national media, national spotlight. And then, of course, the person that would have started, because there's just no way you can go back to Justin Fields after all that stuff. There's no way. Of course, the person that's supposed to replace Justin Fields gets hurt during the week, and the bone bruise in his knees is too much to handle. He didn't even travel to Cincinnati.
There's a lot to take in when it comes to this football team. But you hit something there that I do want to talk about, and it's Justin Fields. Because I agree with what you just said. I agree with the fact that there's no way that they should be turning back right now to Justin Fields. Not because Justin Fields has lost the locker room or because Justin Fields has played poorly, which he has. Look at the talent around him. Garrett Wilson's not playing today.
Yeah.
Brees Hall, I believe, is playing, but he's questionable. Mason Taylor is questionable. We think he's going to play.
Yeah.
If those guys don't play, who the hell's Justin Fields throwing the ball to?
Arian
Alan
Smith.
Lazard? Why is Alan Lazard there? Oh, that's right. The owner who flew his private plane to California got on his hands and knees at the palace of Aaron Rodgers and said, "We are not worthy. We are not worthy. Come to the Jets."
Only to abandon ship 2 years later.
Exactly.
Like,
you can't make this up. You're right. The owner's incompetence is just insane. But I'm not gonna give Aaron Glenn a pass.
it's not about giving Aaron Glenn a pass. It's about acknowledging that he's just a part of
He's a
like
pawn in the game.
he's like a symptom, whereas the disease is this owner that can't make decisions for shit, which is why he hires search firms like the one Mike Tannenbaum wrote. Of course, that ended up being a disaster because Aaron Glenn sucks, you know? And again, by the way, I'm rooting for Aaron Glenn. I want him to be the coach for the next 20 years. And I'll be rooting for him until he gets fired. You know, there's a lot of issues right now that I right now it is just a disaster. I can't believe that I root for a football team that continues to be the punchline to every single joke imaginable. It is impossible to be a punchline to every single joke imaginable, and the Jets continue to be an embarrassment.
Yeah, they are just not in a good place right now. Woody, Mark, you want to add anything here, or
Not to step on or literally in somebody's grave that has already been nicely said. I just don't understand. I just didn't understand anything from the beginning of this season. I had stood up for the Jets because I was excited about Justin Fields being there with Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall, all healed and everything.
Same, you know.
And even after that first game, even though they lost the first game, they played a hell of a football game.
yep,
Where has that tenacity gone? I understand injuries has wiped out this team to unfortunate levels. And that'll take away morale and that'll take away hunger and stuff like that. Now you're 0-7, looking to go 0-8 because I'm sorry, there's no way you can't tell me Joe Flacco is not going to have a hell of a day out there
We
today
light them up like crazy now.
with T.
it's a
Higgins
Joe
and Jamar
Flacco
Chase.
revenge game.
How many revenge
And
games has he had on the Jets? He's like what, 3? You know?
He's gonna
and and it's not going to get easier for Jets fans for the rest of this season either. It's only going to get harder. However, if there's one thing I'll say about New York Giants and New York Jets fans, they are probably two of the most passionate fans in football. And they'll be out there in the freezing freaking cold to friggin' boo you and tell you how bad you are and risk their own lives to do it. But they're not fair weather fans. They show up whether you're winning or losing.
Maybe that's a problem. Keep putting money in the owner's pocket. Don't show up, and then you have a
It worked in
different
Oakland,
problem.
but I don't think they're moving back to New York.
Well, I'm not even saying for the process of moving. I would say for the process of maybe this owner will realize that he is not a beloved figure in this town, and you go from there. But yeah, the Jets go to Cincinnati today to play the Bengals. No Garrett Wilson, no Sauce Gardner either. He's out with a concussion, so it might be a Jamar Chase field day out there.
Whether it's Jamar Chase or it's going to be T. Higgins, you can count on at least one of them, if not both of them, having 100-yard days.
They both almost went for over 100 last week. Chase
Yep.
did. Higgins went for, I believe, 96. All right. I'm jumping around a little bit here because there is a huge game tonight on Sunday Night Football in the Steel City. Aaron Rodgers looks to make history by defeating his 32nd team. As the Pittsburgh Steelers welcoming the Green Bay Packers, and how this game is not at Lambeau Field, I don't understand.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like
This game should have been at Lambeau.
it should have been. I mean, look, anyway, I don't know what the home schedule has been like. I haven't really followed the Packers schedule in regards to how when they're away, when they're home. Obviously, I've been following their season, but it's like I don't know why the NFL didn't make this a Rodgers homecoming. Like, just saying.
I'm with you. I wish this game was at Lambeau. Steelers coming off a tough loss to the Bengals. Packers survived in Arizona last week. And I got to tell you, I think both these quarterbacks, as we go forward in the season, both have a ton of pressure on them. Rodgers, because Pittsburgh thinks they're a Super Bowl contender. And Jordan Love has to show you something because, Mark, of the acquisition of Micah Parsons. The Packers believe they are as well a Super Bowl contender.
And they are. If you look at the Green Bay Packers, they are a Super Bowl contender at this moment. At this moment. There's a lot of football to play. I will not say that this Packer defense isn't good. It's very good. I'm not going to say they haven't had a real test, but they allowed the Dallas Cowboys to tie them. That was the biggest javelin through the heart that could have happened. Aaron Rodgers has its shot to, like Mike said, 32nd to be the 32nd team. If you don't think he's not going to go all out tonight to do this, give me the Steelers tonight. I think that this is going to be a beatdown on the Packers defense that they need. Get this high note off your shoulders, get this chip off your shoulders, take a beating, which you need to do to get yourselves right towards the rest of the season. Because the season does not get much easier for the Packers after this.
This is a good test for Green Bay. You know, it's not like they've had an easy schedule all year. Some games have been weaker than others, right? For some of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to remind you they also lost to the Browns. So it's like,
with Joe Flacco.
Exactly. My big thing with Green Bay is I think they're obviously a strong enough contender to be at the very least a big time playoff team. They'll make a big playoff run. I think they're a contender for that. I'm not going to go as far as saying Super Bowl, but I will go as far as saying that they're definitely in the mix. Um, you got to take advantage of this. This Steelers team, they don't impress me. I like Rodgers and how he's been playing this season, but he still is showing signs of his veteran father time type of play, throwing interceptions and not moving out of the pocket as well, in the pocket as well. Gets sacked a bunch of times. You know, the Packers, they have a lot of spring chickens. Like, go after it. Go after this Steelers team that's overrated and, you know, really win this game. And then, of course, if you're the Steelers, back up your guy. But they have a lot of trouble doing that. And this is not just, it was not just an issue against Cincinnati. It was an issue against a lot of these teams.
Well, Dan, to your point, think about it. They barely squeaked by the Jets in week 1. They lose to Seattle week 2. If New England doesn't turn the ball over 5 times, New England probably beats them.
Yeah.
And they beat Minnesota with Carson Wentz. They beat Cleveland in a Dylan Gabriel start. And then last week they lose to the Bengals. But the unit I fear I don't fear right now is the Steeler defense.
Yeah.
There's an APB out for TJ Watt. You wanted a new deal, you got it. I haven't seen you on the field. Cam Hayward, you wanted a new deal, you got it. What impact have you made? Jalen Ramsey's made an impact. He made that play week 1 against Garrett Wilson, but outside of that, has Jalen Ramsey made a big play? I don't know. The Steelers have had a vaunted defense for years. It's what they're known for as an organization. To quote one of the greatest rappers of all time, will the real Pittsburgh Steelers defense please stand up? They need it. They need to prove, even though they are 4-2 and they are a very good football team, I'm not ready to put them in that echelon of Kansas City, Buffalo, even the Chargers, I like more than the Steelers. And the flip side to Green Bay for me, look, I have concerns about the Packers. I think they're a good football team. But Dan, I'm with you. I can't call them right now a Super Bowl contender based on what I've seen. And Super Bowl teams don't struggle with the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Super Bowl teams don't let the Dallas Cowboys back into that game. Super Bowl teams don't lay an egg against Joe Flacco and the Cleveland Browns.
And they don't have quarterbacks that I don't want to say regret because Jordan Love hasn't regressed, but he
But he hasn't
certainly
wowed us yet.
exactly he
Yes.
hasn't had that season where he breaks out into his big time quarterback mode. Like we
Yeah.
need to see that, and we haven't seen it yet.
I'm with you. I thought after the Parsons trade, the player under the most pressure in the entire league became Jordan Love
Yeah.
because the Packers signified we're going for it. You have to be the guy.
Mm.
And he hasn't shown to be the guy yet. So
His
They-
stats aren't bad, but there's no hype like Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre used to bring.
Yeah, I mean, there's no like. Look, they're beasts in the NFC North, but they don't scare any of these teams. Like if you go ahead and you face the Packers, like a lot of these teams are gonna be up for it.
Mm.
They're not scared of what Jordan Love can do and what's his big time weapon. Watson? He just got off the IR.
IR. Yeah.
Right. Otherwise, it's Tucker Craft, really.
But he doesn't scare me either.
Yeah.
They don't have an alpha in that room, in that receiver room.
Right. Unfortunately, and, Matthew Golden is getting better week by week. His numbers are progressing. But for someone who was touted as a first round top pick wide receiver, should have been in the end zone a lot more already to the big zero that he has currently.
So, see what happens. That'll be Sunday. That'll be tonight. Steelers, Packers. And for some reason, because the NFL is stupid, it's not at Lambeau. All right. Speaking of the Packers, you can't talk Packers without talking about the oldest rivalry in the NFL. That'd be the Chicago Bears, who Mark started the year 0-2. They've won 4 in a row. You in on the Bears, who will go into Baltimore today, play the Baltimore Ravens.
See, for the Bears, it's kind of fortunate that they're going in today, and again, no Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson will once again be out for the Baltimore Ravens, leaving Cooper Rush to start. And if Cooper Rush comes out and plays as poorly as he did, the third string could be in much quicker. Um, I have not bought into the Caleb Williams hype yet. Not even from when he was drafted #1 overall. DeAndre Swift, Roma Dunzier, DJ Moore, yeah, them I buy into. There's something about Williams that bothers me. I don't know if it's the cockiness. I don't know if it's the inconsistency, whatever. With no Lamar Jackson, the Chicago Bears should prosper today. The defense will then be more than up to a challenge to the backup quarterback likings of Cooper Rush. They'll probably stack the box against Derrick Henry, who is leading the league in fumbles. I don't think Chicago is as good as they are. They're just getting lucky on teams they're playing who are just weaker each time they have to play them. The one true game they came out and looked good is when they beat up on the Cowboys. That's when they looked their best. But I'm sorry, that doesn't say anything.
Dan, are you a buyer of the Bears?
My buyer, the Bears. They keep winning games. I mean, I think it's right now. It's tricky because they're not particularly playing well.
Mhm.
They're not playing great football. Some of these games are just getting pretty lucky. I will say I will give the coaching staff credit for having this team ready to go every game that they can give themselves a chance to win. And also kudos to Caleb Williams, who seems like he is starting to really uh really starting to fall into place in this league as a quarterback, as a big time starting quarterback. Whether that stays throughout his entire career, that remains to be seen. But so far, it's looked good. And look, you win 4 games in a row. I mean, you gotta give some credit to something, right?
Yeah.
They're doing
Right.
something right. I just don't know. I don't know. I think the NFC, there is a lot of competition in the NFC. I don't think they're there yet. But again, you give all the flowers to what the Bears are doing. I'm not gonna be buyer status yet. I'm gonna hold off until I see more. Like I really gotta see more. I gotta see growth out of this team too.
No, that's fair. They're in Baltimore today. They'll play the Ravens, who
Yeah,
will
but by the way, the NFL is investigating the Ravens because of how they handled the Lamar.
how they handled Lamar. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So Lamar was listed as a full participant in practice
yeah,
Friday. Then they said he was out, but it turns out he actually ran the scout team offense.
yeah. You would. The term they used was he was limited, but that was retroactive. which
Right.
it's
Right.
so stupid. If he's not going to play, he's not going to play. Like, tell the truth.
Right.
You know?
I think this is the other thing that the NFL needs to realize, because this was basically what was reported. The Ravens are going to be on a short week. They're going to play Thursday night. Lamar's return is going to be Thursday night.
Yeah.
Most likely.
Oh, no, it's happening because they're playing the Dolphins, and no matter the line, the Ravens are going to blow the Dolphins out of the water.
He could go out there with one leg and hop and do better. I mean, in all honesty.
God.
Listen,
What better to come back to a tune-up game?
I know it's going to happen before it even happens. Call me Nostradamus. It's all goes for Halloween on Friday.
God. How could you a team desperate for a get right game? Ravens
Just
against
play the
Dolphins.
Dolphins. Get right game. If
No
you're not,
offense, Mike.
by the way, not sponsors of not sponsored by FanDuel or anything. You got a Bijan parlay today. Use it because he's gonna have for 250 total yards and 3 touchdowns.
Damn.
All right.
God damn.
Speaking of injured quarterbacks, Brock Purdy will miss again. Will be out again today. Mac Jones gets the start for the Niners in Houston against the Texans. So,
This is low key becoming like a nice little comeback tour for Mac Jones.
yeah,
And what a way! And look, you feel for Purdy, you really do. But at the same time, like Mac Jones, without even realizing it when he signed with San Francisco, like he's getting an opportunity to basically audition for other teams.
yeah.
You know,
And he's played well. He's played
Mm.
well for the most part. Got to give him the credit.
Yeah, look, the Niners are not the best team, but like they certainly, and look, obviously that's due to a lot of injuries. They're banged up across the board.
Oh my god!
You know, but look, they've they're hanging on.
They're 5-2. Think about the top of the
They're just
NFC
hanging
West.
on, you know.
Think about the top of the NFC West for a minute. The Rams, for the most part, healthy, 5-2. Seattle, mostly healthy, 5-2. The Niners, everybody's hurt, 5-2.
Mm.
Kyle Shanahan, if you're not right now the front runner for Coach of the Year, you're
Yeah.
in the conversation, man.
See, Kyle Shanahan, he gives me hope for Aaron Glenn because I remember Kyle Shanahan starting 0-9 to begin his coaching career. Now he's become literally an example of what an NFL head coach should look like. Um,
And by the way, let's not underestimate the return of Robert Saleh either, what
mm,
he's done for that defense.
yeah, that system defense that Niners were all over before he left, and then they got away from that. And look, that's the only thing that I will say about the solid coaching is the fact that his system type of defense. Look, I don't want to admit it, but it has actually been a godsend for that Niners team. And it certainly made the Jets look like world beaters. Like, gotta give him that, you know. Um,
So the Niners will play their former defensive coordinator, D'Amico Ryans, today in Houston. The Texans are also really banged up. No
mhm.
Nico Collins today for the
Yeah.
Texans.
And unfortunately they don't have the same resources as San Francisco does. Like, you know,
No.
One
They
note to point out 20 yards. 20 offensive yards for Christian McCaffrey to go over 1,000 total yards already on the season,
God bless him.
to go along with 6 touchdowns at the moment. But 20 yards. So,
you don't think they missed Christian McCaffrey last year? Oh boy.
of course they did.
All right. By the way, that'll be a fun matchup because the Texan defense is really good. They just, offensively have issues. All right, other games to talk about. Mark, we got a battle in the NFC East between the Eagles and the Giants. No AJ Brown today for the Eagles, but the Giants are also banged up and coming off that really bad loss last week in Denver.
The Giants, we talked so much about that collapse. Not much more else to say on it, just besides disappointing. This is a Saquon Barkley get right game. And it's not going to be easy either. This is not Saquon Barkley running for 200 yards here or anything. This is Saquon Barkley running for 105, 110 yards and a touchdown. He needs to get back to elite status. No more of these 16 carries for 45 yards. It's not going to do it. Whatever is going wrong with A.J. Brown, I don't know. I don't get it. He has become prevalent with the 2 touchdown game over the last few weeks. However, the New York Giants defeated the Eagles once. And it's not like they did it by any stretch of magic. They did it with the team they have. They can do it again, provided one thing and one thing only. They don't shy away from the run and wait till the end of the game to do it.
This is a revenge game for Philly. They were pretty mad that they lost to the Giants as badly as they did. Um, a few days before that, since it was a short week, they lost to the Broncos after giving up their lead, right? So they're mad. They were able to get that win beforehand, and now they're coming into this Giant game feeling a little more confident, um, and better about themselves. And I think the Giants should be worried because there's no way that the Eagles are gonna again allow Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo um come out and absolutely crush them like they did that Thursday night a couple weeks ago.
And look, I think you have to dare Jackson Dart to beat you with his arm, which he can do. But do you trust these giant receivers? Wandale Robinson, Theo Johnson, Darius Slade. Do you trust all these guys? If I'm Philly, I will line up 8 in the box and keep continually dare Jackson Dart to beat me with his arm. And flip side, Jalen Hurts had a really good game last week, but Mark, you're right. They need to figure out the Saquon thing. All right, we got Giants, Eagles. We got the Bills and the Panthers today. The Panthers looking to win their 5th straight.
Not going to happen.
So quick to go.
I'm sorry,
Not
just a little
happening.
dose of reality for Panthers fans. Not to take anything away, Bryce Young definitely has looked better this year than what he has in previous years. Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard have done a great job, but it's going to come. This win streak is going to come an end today to Buffalo.
It is not Bryce Young. It'll be Andy Dalton today.
Oh, it is? Okay, I didn't know if that was
Bryce Young is out with
an
ankle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I figured that was going to be the case.
They announced it early in the week, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, he's limited in practice now."
Yeah, well,
you already ruled him out.
Yeah. The Buffalo Bills need to win this.
They need this game.
I'm sorry. Like this is we're really, if they lose here or if the Panthers are competitive, that's a problem. That's a Buffalo problem. Bottom line. Like, and look, we get it. Every week is different. The Bills have been struggling. They've been struggling.
Yeah. They will
So
get their first round pick, Max Hairston, in today.
yeah,
He'll make his season debut. Yeah. Carolina has been playing really well.
yeah, yeah. I like how they're playing. Look, the Dalton playing, I think they'll be more competent in quarterback. Maybe that's wishful thinking. Um, but yeah, no, I like their defense.
It's young and it's fast. All right, Mark. Cowboys, Broncos. Again, no Trayvon Diggs, who was just put on IR.
So this Trayvon Diggs injury is jibber jabber. I was pissed off when I heard about how it happened. Now I'm even more pissed off that's going to cost him the next 4 games. That being said, nothing can do about it. The Dallas defense will have to shut down the Denver offense, which the New York Giants were able to do for 3 quarters. If the Dallas Cowboys defense can replicate that or keep it to somewhat like that, this Dallas offense is more than capable to put up 28 to 35 points a game. However, Mile High Stadium, I'm looking for one thing and one thing only to happen today, and that's a Brandon Aubrey 70-plus yard field goal.
What are the odds on that one?
I don't know, I haven't looked, but if there were any chance for a 70-yard plus field goal, it would have been by 2 kickers, one of them right now not in the league, and Aubrey being the second.
The thing I wonder about for this game is Denver's defense really struggled last week. Now they're going up against George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, who's back.
Right.
Who do you put Pat Surtain on?
And that's a very good question. And then I'll flip it over to Dan. I think Patrick Surtain has to go on CD Lamb. I think there's no other question. I don't think there's a question about it. CD Lamb is your best. Patrick Surtain is your best. But the difference is this year is Dallas has a capable backup at number 2.
My fantasy team agrees. I'll take the George Pickens numbers.
Dan?
For the Broncos, obviously um uh, I was very disappointed in the Bronco defense last week against the Giants. I certainly thought they'd be better because they had been great all season, but very disappointed they took a week off. Seems like the offense kind of woke up in the fourth quarter, which is pretty nice. You can't do that again to the Dallas Cowboys. If the Dallas Cowboys put up 40 on you, you're not winning this game. And that's the harsh reality for Denver. I trust them to win this game. However, if they allow Dallas, which is a good offense, if they allow them to put up big time points, it's going to be very hard for me to trust them.
And the other thing is this: he gets away with it because the fourth quarter. Bo Nix for 3 quarters last week was
Brutal.
awful.
4 quarters against the Jets.
Yeah,
Brutal.
he
He did
was not.
nothing.
He has not played well the past couple of weeks. They need to figure out what's going on there with Bo Nix.
Yeah. Well, is it his ability to read good defenses? I mean, I don't know
I
what the problem is because he gets so confused every time there's some type of bump anywhere with the game plan.
he kind of reminds me a little bit of Chua, where it's got to be that first reading out. He has a hard time when he has to go third, fourth read. The difference between him and Tua is, though, he's way more athletic, so he can run a little bit more. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I also feel Sean Payton's got to ease him into the game. Get him a couple of easy completions, and then let's get into the downfield stuff. I think that'll help him calm down. So we got that. Talked about Packers Steelers before. And then tomorrow night we got the Commanders and the Chiefs. No Jaden Daniels for the Commanders, but they do expect the return of Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin.
And that should help out Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
Not having Jaden Daniels sucks, man. I mean, it's been a rough year for him. It's been a rough year too for him. Injuries and not being on the same page with your offense. Defense isn't necessarily where it needs to be. Commanders, Jaden Daniels, Dan Quinn, all of them. I'm not saying punt the season yet, but clearly the vibes from what I've seen over here in DC, the vibes are incredibly different.
Well, last year they took everyone by surprise.
Yeah.
And this year it's just been the injuries have crushed them. And it starts with training camp. Look, Terry McLaurin holding out, and then he hurts his quad. It hampers them. The defense hasn't gotten a stop. That's hampered them. I still believe in Dan Quinn. You still got to believe in Jaden Daniels.
Well, Jaden Daniels will be out plus the bye week. It's a grade 1 hamstring strain, not a pull. That's the difference in this. So he'll only miss probably one game at the most, being this one, and we'll be back after the bye week.
Right. So this would be smart to hold him out if the bye week is next week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And Chiefs are now favored 11.5 over the Commanders. With the return of Deebo and McLaurin, I might be willing to challenge that.
I'll say this. You talk about the returns all you want. I don't think there's anyone playing better football right now than Patrick Mahomes. The dude has been on fire the past couple of weeks. And now he's got Rashee Rice back.
Yes.
Just when Kansas City need another offensive weapon. Oh. All right. All right, Mark. Who'll be your fantasy player of the day?
My fantasy player of the day will be none other than Jason Ferguson of the Dallas Cowboys. Will have at least 6 receptions for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Dan?
I'm gonna go with Cam Scatterbo.
I'm gonna go Bijan Robinson because I just said it a few minutes ago. He'll go off this Dolphin defense.
Yeah.
And
He'll probably be, as he has been for the last few weeks, probably be the only bright spot along with Jackson Dart for the New York Giants.
And Mark's guy, Kirk Cousins, will be the quarterback of the Falcons today.
Can't stand him, but I hope he has a good day. I can't stand Kirk Cousins. With what he had in Minnesota and couldn't get it done, I just don't get it.
Hey, man, it happens. All right. That'll do it for the Week 8 edition Sunday Sideline Report here on the SIN YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Dan will be live tomorrow with Bill for SIP.
That's the plan.
All right, they'll have it. Mark and I will probably be with you at Tuesday or Wednesday to recap the NFL week. So come to the YouTube page. It's good stuff. Go to the website, thesportsinsanitynetwork.com for great blogs, logs, planes, trains, and automobiles. Follow us on the socials, Facebook, the Sports Insanity Network, Twitter, S Insanity Real. Dan, Mark, I'm Mike. Enjoy the football, everybody, and we'll talk to you all.